Hey ninjas, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about the 7 or maybe 8 things that we discovered and learned about working with your spouse. If you're about to go into business with your spouse or partner or significant other, maybe just watch this video before you jump into that.
Yeah, that's true. Like some of the things we learned were big mistakes and, we definitely learned a lot about each other. So yeah, some of these things might help you in business in general and hopefully in your relationship, whether you're running your business with your spouse or not.
Yes. And I think really, we started working together right after we got married, right?
The first year of marriage.
Prior to that, we'd been together for a long time, but we hadn't worked together.
Yeah.
We both had our own careers.
Yeah, and we had the typical thing, like you go to work, you say goodbye, and then you see your spouse in the evening and you're like, how was your day? And you listen to them and you're like, oh, this and that. And, you throw crap at all of the things that you feel sorry for your spouse or whatever, when the day perhaps wasn't so great. And then you spend the evening together and you just like have a different idea of who your spouse actually is.
Yeah, so I felt like that first year was a real pressure tester, that's the stress amplifier, like whatever stress there is, suddenly that everything is amplified.
It's like, boof.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, we don't have kids yet, but it's kind of like what people say is like having a kid, that whatever there is, it's just like puts it on steroid and amplifies it. And if you're starting out, and at the time we were starting out and we weren't really making any money, and that just added so much to the pressure. So what is one of the things that you learned? Like the first year, I'm not gonna lie guys, it was tough and it did take us over a year to kind of work it out.
Yeah.
At one point we were like, are we even gonna make this as business owners, business partners? Are we even gonna make it as a couple? Or if we do want to make it as a couple, what is it that we have to change? Perhaps we have to stop working with each other. But at the end, finally, we figured it out. So what was one of the big things that you learned for you?
I think one of the big things was that we learned that, yes, there's stress in business. And of course, it's amplified when the cash flow and the revenue is not there. Like they say money doesn't solve all problems, but certainly helps. Lack of it is a stress tester. But I think the big learning there was that we do get stressed. It's normal to be stressed in a business environment, but it's great that we don't get stressed about the same things. Like when I get stressed, you're there to support me. And when you get stressed, I'm there to support you. I feel like it would be disastrous if we got stressed over the same things. They got stressed at the same time. So for me, that was like a big relief. Sure, we get stressed, but we can manage it, we can deal with it, we can move through it, it's temporary.
And we kind of had to learn the fact that we get stressed about different things. We didn't see that at the beginning.
Yes,
so
it wasn't obvious.
There was this one crazy episode when I was really stressing out because at this point we're like launching a campaign after a campaign after a campaign, and it's just, things just were not working.
This is the early days of our business when we really had no clue what we were doing.
And one day I just cracked it. And I just cracked it and I like took a chair and I threw it and the chair broke. Yes. Or at least the wheel. No, the chair didn't break. The wheel of the chair broke.
It was one of those office chairs, but we're on a budget when we're starting out. So it's like a inexpensive, I don't want to say inexpensive, but budget, low cost office chair. It didn't last. And it didn't last.
So I smashed the chair and I walked out of the door. And that for me was the lowest point. And I was like, okay, first of all, I hated myself for that outburst. I felt really, really low because I felt like, oh my God, we must be so stupid not like making this work, because you see all of these 18-year-olds out there with the Ferraris and like, oh yeah, bro, just do drop shipping. This is going to be real cool.
And the money's just flying.
The money's just flying. And there we are at the time, late 30 something. And we're like,
And we're working so hard. Like we're putting in hours and hours, like working longer hours than in our corporate careers.
Yeah. And we also had like background in digital marketing and management consulting and technology from the corporate world. So I was like stressed to the bone. And when that happened, and when, I threw the chair and I was like, oh my God, this is really bad. Kristen is not that kind of guy who's going to be ever like shouting or whatever. I'm sure he's going to file for divorce after this. Like he's going to be like, that's it, woman. I'm walking out of here.
I was concerned because it was like the most intense I'd ever seen. And we'd been together for 5 years at the time.
Point, yeah. But
so I had seen you, get stressed before or get angry before, but this was like a new level. It was like, wow.
And so I walked out and I was like, oh my God. This is like, have I crossed the line? Like, is he going to like, and Kristen was just like taking his time not to respond. But then I realized that I was stressed so much that I didn't realize that he was actually fine. And, he was less stressed than I was, or not so stressed about it. Yeah. And so that's when I really, whilst that was the low point, it really also helped me feel that support, because at the end he was like, okay, this happened, let's move on. And I was like, wow, is that it? And you know, that for me was like a huge moment of realization. Okay, I can really, really rely on this man. First of all, I made the decision of never getting that stressed ever again in my life, and I never have done since.
I think that was
and it's now like 6 years since then. So phew,
that really was the rock bottom.
That
right?
really was the rock bottom in the business at the time. But yeah, that helped us kind of like start up, like, okay, this is how we work together as a husband and wife. Each of us get stressed at different things, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think that leads to like the next point, which is like, I think we're getting stressed because we're expecting each other to kind of do the same things.
That's true.
Like if I'm going to be doing, for example, sales calls, then you need to be doing sales calls. Like that we need to do the same thing. And then like one person might be good at sales calls, the other person might not be good. In my case, I'm not great on the phone as a sales.
And I'm not so great at updating the website, but I kind of expected myself to be able to do all of the techie things. And, you know, doing like sales, that was also new to me.
Yeah.
But I was good at it, but it was also new to me. I was also completely out of my comfort zone. And so I had that expectation of Kristen, like, hang on, buddy, like, I'm out of my comfort zone. Like, you go out of your comfort zone too, and you do this too.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that we shouldn't be learning new skills because, you know, we did trainings and learned things.
Yeah.
But I think the realization for me was that we have different genius zones.
Yes.
There's things that we're great at and we love and good at that, like, we're efficient at.
Yeah.
But they're not the same.
They're not the same, and we've got to honor what they are. And I think that was
to
once we
leverage it. Yeah.
And once we realized that in the business, like, that was powerful. That's when you realize that working with your spouse is so much more powerful than running your own business or working with a business partner who is not your spouse, because you naturally are like 1 + 1 = 75.
Yeah, or at least 3.
Or at least 3.
Yeah.
So that was very, very, very good to realize that and to really play into those genius zones. But, you know, to be honest with you, it wasn't kind of so obvious what the genius zones are, right?
It wasn't because we had different, like, you know, in my job, I was working with different teams of people, and there was people to do this and that and all of these different tasks and activities, and we were planning and whatnot. But then in our own business,
you have to get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
And that brings me to the next point that we learned about each other after starting our own business. Like, guys, was that really time management and work ethics. Like, for me, you know, I felt that the level of commitment, time management, and work ethics was like a deadline. To me, was deadline.
Yeah.
Like, we have a deadline, which means we want to get things done before they're dead. Like, before we walk on the deadline.
Or before we're dead.
But, you know, Kristen was more kind of like, let's get the coffee and let's go out for lunch. I'm like, buddy, we're not going out for lunch. Like, the deadline for this was today, 10 a.m.
Yeah, but in my point of view, it's like, if it's later today, it's okay. You know, it's not that I was just floating along the thing and things never get done. It wasn't about that.
Yeah.
But
we had to do a little bit of like whipping at the beginning. So now we're better because Kristen, you know, helped me to like relax a little bit more.
I mean, there was one day you didn't go to the toilet because you're like, I don't have time for that. I
don't have time for that. I don't have time to pee.
Yeah.
Because we are getting this ready.
You know, we had a little bit of extreme differences, and I think we've helped each other.
We helped each other balance it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I do think, just secretly, quietly, you know, if like Kristen hadn't learned that, there's no way you would have ever been able to get things done.
We've also, though, I think like this is a little bit off script, but we've also realized that sometimes when you go out of the environment for that lunch,
that's true. You get new ideas.
You get a new idea, and then you end up doing so.
Guys, I have to give him this one.
If we're like just slaving away on the thing, you don't always get the best outputs or outcomes.
That's true.
Just saying.
That is very true. But also sometimes we can have all these ideas and you know, and post-it notes on the wall.
I don't want someone to steal my idea, but really, ideas are worthless unless
you like roll up your sleeves
action
and get shit done.
Yeah.
Oops. Sorry. So I think
we'll bleep that out.
Beep. So I think in this point, it's been really great to complement each other, hasn't it?
Yeah. But distractions can be.
Yeah, distractions.
Too, right?
That's what we also learned, that each of us gets distracted and by different things. And you know, the shiny object syndrome, like when you're building your business, guys, it's real.
Yeah. Oh, there's this new app. Have you seen it?
Oh, new app. Oh,
there's
what does it do? Adds to cart, upsell, cross-sell, you know, all of this stuff.
Facebook have a new feature. Instagram have a new feature.
Like this. Oh, have you seen this? You know, and then you go into like upload new things on social media and you find yourself like scrolling and picking through other people's stuff.
Oh, it's some new coach, some new guru has this amazing new thing. I've got to get that thing now. So it's easy to be distracted.
So what we had to learn, both of us, was that, we've got to set up that plan and focus and, and redo that a few times a week. You do that on a Sunday night for maximum productivity, and then you do that midweek again.
And stick to the strategy.
Stick to it. That's
like
true.
Not the tactics. We talked about that in another video, but the strategy. There's all different ways of getting things done. There's all different ways of climbing the mountain, all different paths and routes you can take. But once you pick one, you've got to kind of commit to it, because if you keep jumping all over the place, it's not going to end up well, right?
That is really true. And, in a small business, sometimes that's hard, because sometimes there are all of these building blocks you have to put together before you start seeing those consistent sales come in. Yeah. And so it's really easy that, you're about to enter step 3 where those sales are supposed to be coming, but you get distracted because you haven't seen it just yet.
Yeah.
And so you go after the shiny objects. And we unfortunately have done that in the first 18 months in our business. And guys, it was painful.
Ouch. And that's kind of leads to another point of feeling inferior or not good enough, or the comparison trap. But because you see on social media, obviously that's true. The glossed version of all of these successful people, successful entrepreneurs doing all this stuff. And it makes us feel, I felt at times inferior or stupid, right? What am I doing wrong?
I felt stupid and embarrassed, and and you have all of these people who are not in business who are asking you how is that business of yours going? Have you made your first 7 figures yet, or 6 figures, or And you're just get off my face. It's hard. It's freaking hard. I'm struggling, but I'm not giving up.
Yeah.
And you telling me this stuff is not helping.
Or getting advice from people who have no clue, right?
How many times did we get, and I don't know why were we doing this, but you launch your website and you ask your friends to give you feedback, and everybody's giving you this valuable feedback. But one of the things we learned, and this is off topic, but it doesn't really matter unless that person is your ideal customer. That customer who's going to be pulling your wallet to buy your product, doesn't matter. Their feedback doesn't matter.
It's almost meaningless, isn't it?
Almost meaningless. Don't get your family members or former colleagues or whoever or friends give you feedback, because that does not matter unless they are the people who are going to pay.
Yes.
That's when it does matter. All right. So the other thing that we actually learned through how all of this mumbo jumbo that we've been doing over the years, we've learned that actually, whilst we struggled with feeling with low confidence and with feeling stupid, over time we really got to appreciate how the other person is smart and put together, right?
Yeah.
I think I really got to admire Kristen over the years. I got to admire how he's so cool and calm, and he's not a man of that many words.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he does speak, it really does matter. And then out of nowhere, suddenly he comes up with this amazing idea, and I was wow, my husband is so amazing, I married so well.
Oh, thanks. And vice versa. I think some of the things that you've put together over the years have been amazing. The frameworks that you've come up with, the way you've simplified things for our customers and our students and our members, and really teaching it's so easy to put together a complicated training and so difficult to make it simple and relatable. And I think you've done a great job at that.
Oh, thank you.
And there's still more to go.
Heart, XD, whatever those emojis are.
There's still more to go. It's not that, we've nailed it, but, we're moving in the right direction. I think that's good. And when things get tricky, sometimes we're okay, whoa, stop. Let's go back to basics and let's stick to the plan and, get back on track, and we can do this. And
get back to that strategy, what you said. There needs to be a vision. And what we also realize is that in a small business, just because you've got the vision in your head doesn't mean the other people understand the vision.
Yes.
And what we realized that even in a 2-people business, it's easy to be not on the same page. So what we realized and had to learn over time is really communicating what the vision is, and both of us buying into that.
Yes.
So important. So important.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. The next thing we learned was that actually in a small business, if you really want to switch off and take holidays, I've seen this meme on social media the other day, and it was small business owner on holidays. It was a surfboard that was powered, and on that surfboard was a chair and a tiny desk, and the person was on their laptop.
I haven't seen that one.
And it's so true that when you are in a husband and wife or small business with your loved ones or family members, you've got to set the rules.
Doesn't it never work with your spouse or animals or children?
Yeah, too late. you've got to set the rules, and when you're talking about the business and when you're not talking about the business, right?
Yeah.
Because how many times we're just about to go to sleep and it's like, oh, did you respond to that customer? Or it's like, oh, did you update the product page? You know, all of these things. And that's just constantly running through your head, and it's really not helping.
Yeah.
For the sustainability, for the rest, for, you know, communication, for the business either.
Yeah, because we work from home as well. Like our office we're in an apartment here, and one bedroom is the office, and another bedroom is where we live and we sleep, and you know they're next to each other, right? So
and sometimes you're like, after the shower you run back to the office, I forgot something on, you know.
Yeah, so it is hard to switch off, and also it's exciting as well, right? Like when things are going well, like we've got days and weeks and months where things are going really well, it's really exciting, and then there's days, weeks, months where things are not going well, and it's really consuming and overwhelming and stressful. So like balancing that out can be tricky, right? And I think we've got better at it, but it still pops up from time to time, doesn't it? Like
that's true. And so those rules really helped us, haven't they? Like the rules was like, okay, not always we stick to it precisely, but it's like, okay, after 7 p.m, like there is no shop talk.
Yeah, we try not to.
We try.
Yeah, I think we're getting pretty good at it. Yeah.
That's true. Alrighty, so that was kind of 7 points there.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure. So let's summarize them. Let's just have a look. So we talked about, we stressed about different things, which we discovered over time. So that was a good thing.
Genius zones.
Otherwise, guys, we may not have been here as a business owners or couples anymore.
Yeah.
We talked about discovering different genius zone. You've got to discover what it is and then play really into that. It was only when we started to play into the genius zone that our business started to like skyrocket, and that we started to really love working with one another.
Yes.
Because really the thing is that I now feel like you can trust so much your spouse, like the level of
that's good.
Trust is like just incredible. Third, don't get distracted. You know, stick to the vision. Work ethics, like you've got to have some time management that it's kind of like balances it out. That sets you rules, but also sets you up for productivity, but also gives you that space and time to go out and, you know, get the ideas flowing. Also, we realized that actually all of us, and you guys when you're watching as well, like all of you guys are smarter than you think. Everybody's smarter than you think. Like we all go through such low points of confidence as building our businesses, because like we see just the reels. You just see however like everybody else has done, but
all the success stories, right?
But the amount of failures that lied behind it, nobody sees that. Like it's overnight success after 25 years, you know. So
that's so very true.
So like just remember, like you're smarter than you think, and you know you're not giving yourself enough
You can
credit.
do it. You've got this.
Exactly. So number 6, there needs to be a clear vision. Like don't get distracted with the tactics. It's all about the strategy.
Yeah.
And number 7, like it's really, really, really important to set a rule to be able to switch off essentially.
Well, rules sound really like strict, like rules, you need to follow the rules, but really
that's the rule. After 7, no more shop talk.
Yeah, but it's guidelines.
Okay, I like to call it rules, but whatever. He likes to call it guidelines. All right, so have we got a bonus one?
Sure, yeah.
What is a bonus?
A bonus one. I think it's funny, like after all of these rules and all this stuff, I think one thing that I've learned is that we actually like, well, I like spending time with you.
Aww.
Even
love hearts.
I mean, even though we live together, we work together,
we go on holidays together,
we stay in the same apartment, we like
go to the gym together. We have breakfast together.
We have lunch together, dinner together, like all of these things together.
Unless I go out with friends. Kristen doesn't go out with friends.
Well, living in Mexico, we don't have that many friends close by. So that makes it a bit more challenging.
But also, you know, he's a little bit more introverted.
That's true. I'm more introverted, yes. So all I'm trying to get to is that it would be easy to see how it could be like too much time together, and we need to do things like separated to keep things balanced so we stay sane. But the weird thing is, out of all of this, I still like just hanging out and spending time with you.
Yeah, me too. We love spending time with each other. Like, even, you know, after work is done over the weekend, like we're just like, okay, we're spending time with each other. Yeah, so that was one of the amazing things that we learned, wasn't it?
So I think that's been powerful for us.
Like when COVID hit, you know, at that point we were already in business for a few years, and we already had worked together for a few years from home. And it was incredible to observe how many people were like putting these pressure cookers, staying at home with each other, and like we've heard about all of these like divorces and husband and wife hating each other.
Yeah.
And I can imagine why that was really stressful, and particularly when they had to work on different careers and different jobs.
And our first year together, like as a business owners, as we talked about already, was tough, right? So
but then when COVID arrived and people were struggling with these things, we're like, oh my God, we're so grateful because we actually enjoyed time with one another.
Being together. And we also had set up our home to be productive. Like we had a desk, we had a chair, we had a monitor, you know, so all of that stuff that perhaps other people weren't set up for, we were set up for.
That's true. So that was a huge advantage. So guys, do let us know, have you ever thought about working with your spouse or working with your family member, or have you done it? What have been some of the challenges you have experienced? Please do let us know, because we want to learn from you too. Do comment below and let us know, like, was this helpful? Did this add value? And also, what is your business? What are you perhaps working on? What are some of the struggles? We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. And we'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, and guys, if you haven't subscribed yet and you watch this whole thing, like, now is the time.
And hit the subscribe button. Smash that like button too.
Talk soon.
See you in the next video. Bye.